Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today we're doing my TBR prompts pick my March TBR, aka my birthday month TBR. But before I open the video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you love all things books. So we are back on the new camera. I'm still figuring out how I like the settings, how I like the background. If you hear the loud ass noise in the background, it's because for some reason my dad's new TV is loud as all get out and he has yet to figure out how to properly use those sound settings, although somehow I think he just likes to annoy me by playing it as loud as possible. So we may have some background ambiance of whatever reality show or YouTube video he's decided he's going to watch today. But never mind that. We are about to pick out my March TBR. Now, in terms of my February TBR, it is February 22nd, so I still have the rest of the week to finish out my February TBR, but I have only completed 3 books on my February TBR. I've started one. I'm like 3 chapters into Direbound, and then I have 2 more books to go through. So will I complete the full TBR this month? I don't know. It depends on how hard I go at attempting to read it. But yeah. You know, if I'm not reading for a vlog, I'm not as, like, sat down and ready to read as much as possible, but now I'm having a little bit more free time at work, so we'll see. But if you've never seen one of my videos, my TBR videos before, I'm going to choose 6 prompts out of this nice little Taylor Swift cup here. Some prompts you may have seen before just because I mix the old within the new every, December, although I did try and clear it out this last time, so we're hoping to have some fun things this time. We're going to pick 4 books off of my physical TBR and 2 books off of my Kindle TBR because we're trying to make it through both because I still keep adding things to it. And yes, did I add books to my physical TBR this past month or in February? Yes, I added 2 new books to my physical TBR, which frankly I think is a feat because the other books I bought were books that I had already read, so they weren't adding to my physical TBR, just to my actual book collection. But there's a lot of books that I've been shown on social media that I really do want to be reading real soon. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and pick out our March TBR prompts. Alright. Prompt number 1, lovely birthday month prompt. I get a freebie. I get to read whatever I want, and I know exactly, well, I'm like 99% sure I know what I want, but we have a freebie. So yeah, okay, love that for me. Then we have, well, the longest book on my TBR. Oh, frick. I know what it is. I'm staring at it in my face, all 700 to 800 pages. And I'm excited to read it, but yeah, it's never, as someone who doesn't generally read a lot of super long books, it's never a fun prompt for me to pull. Animal on cover. Nice. There's lots of books that have animals on covers. I'm just gonna have to decide what my vibe is, because a lot of the animal on cover books tend to be more fantasy, thriller, so on and so forth. And we're starting to enter the era where I'm back in my romance reading mood. Then we have, for our 4th pick, a sapphic book. Oh, do I have any sapphic reads on the TBR? Ooh, I think I might have finally worked through all my sapphic reads. Actually, no, I found it. I found a couple. Okay, I was about to say, I was like, have I worked through all of them? Okay, prompt number 5, another small one. An audiobook. That works out well because, you know what? With a long book on the TBR, we need something else to throw on in between. And I know exactly what I'm going to choose for that. So instead of choosing 2 Kindle books, I'm probably going to choose 1 Kindle book and 1 audiobook. But And then for the final prompt for the month, pulling from the bottom of the stack, a historical book. Oh! I feel like we have a nice mix in the prompt section. Okay. Let me take a moment to suss out the books. Well, actually, right now I can go ahead and say the audiobook. Normally I do picking my physical TBR before I pick the Kindle and audiobook TBR, but I know exactly what I'm going to do for Kindle and audiobook. My freebie pick is a book that I'm going to pick on my Kindle, and it is Daggermouth by H.M. Wolf, because I am feeding into the FOMO. The author's been advertising it all over my For You page. a little dystopian romance, like don't know who to choose situation, and like with a badass FMC, like come on, I have to. And then for my audiobook, I did say that the next nonfiction read that I wanted to do in the year of 2026 was the Stonewall Reader, and that one just sounds like it'll be an impeccable audiobook, and then I can buy the physical book as a trophy for my birthday. So this is what our current physical TBR looks like. So for reading the longest book on my TBR, now there could be a longer book on Kindle. I don't think there is, but we have, which this is also on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm probably going to have to download it at some point, because I don't know if I want to hold this chunker, Fairy Tale by Veronica Lancet. Everyone is telling me that this has, like, the reincarnation, like, faded, like, a sort of trope, and I realized at the end of last year that that was one of my favorite tropes. So for the longest book on my TBR, which, hey, I guess we're going to be knocking down books, this is the book that we're choosing. Then for Animal on the Cover, I have pulled 4 books out. Obviously, The Age of Dragons has a dragon on the cover. Can we count that as animal? I mean, it's a mythical creature, so who knows? Then we have To Kill a Kingdom, which is got all the serpents on there. I mean, we're entering warmer weather times, so I feel like this would be a good book, and it's a standalone, so once I'm done, I don't have a series to continue. What the River Knows by Isabella Banez. I've been seeing her new release from this year really pop off, so I'm curious to read this series and finally get to it, and obviously there's crocodiles on the cover. And then we have Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Frida Abike Amide. That could spice things up. It's not a fantasy, it is a mystery thriller. It is a longer book, though. Since I have Fairy Tale, I think we're going to go and err on the side of shorter, and we're going to pick To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. For my Sapphic book, these are the 3 books that I know are Sapphic. House of Hunger, I'm not 100% sure is Sapphic, but like from what I've read so far, I definitely think it's queer or features that. This Ravenous Fate is another like vampire Sapphic story. Is the start to a series? I don't know. Then The Severed Thread, that is in the middle of a series that I am reading, and I feel like in the name of, you know, finishing series that we're reading, or at least deciding whether we're going to finish those series, we should choose The Severed Thread. Then for my historical reads, I know for a fact that these 2 are historical. Obviously, I've had this on my TBR for a while, and I've had this one for less time on my TBR. I'm just trying to think, because, like, I have a lot of fantasy, and not saying that House of Hunger isn't fantasy, but I know it leans a little more into the horror genre, and it's a little shorter. And while I love me Egyptian mythology, I love me a mythology retelling. I think I'm going to choose House of Hunger, just because I've been reading a lot of queer books, I've been really on my queer book grind, and I think this one will be a little something different to the TBR. Alright, so it is time to go over all the books I picked for my March TBR. So, obviously for my Kindle reads, Daggermouth by H.M. Wolf. This is an adult dystopian romance, and I think it's definitely got some darker taboo elements to it, following a girl who's fighting for the rebellion, but one day she is caught in the act of, I think, trying to assassinate someone, and in order to keep her in line and to send a message to the people, she is forced to marry one of the sons of, like, the dystopian establishment. The only thing is that he has secrets that she doesn't know, and she has many secrets that he doesn't know. I also think there are multiple love interests throughout the story, and there's a lot of knife to throat, like she's gonna kill you sort of scenes, and I am missing out. Fear of missing out, so I'm definitely excited to read that. And then for the audiobook that I had to pick, I'm going to read The Stonewall Reader by various authors. This is a collection of stories and accounts from people who were at the Stonewall riot during the time that it took place in '69. Obviously, given everything that's gone with Stonewall, and then the president trying to remove the pride flag from Stonewall, and then New York putting it back, I think it's an apt time to read this book. And especially, I just finished a YA queer read that was very much so about protest and good trouble, and I'm definitely in my political reads bag right now, and I definitely think this one will be very good to listen to on audio. Then for my historical read, I've pulled House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson. She's also the author of The Year of the Witching, which is another book that I want to read. But this book, first of all, yes, I know it is sapphic, or at least I think it's sapphic. It says, wanted, blood made of exceptional taste, but must have a keen proclivity for life's finer pleasures. Girls of weak will need not apply. Okay. A young woman is drawn into the upper echelons of society where blood is power in this dark and enthralling gothic tale from the author of The Year of the Witching. I don't know if there's any more to say. I don't know if it's vampires or what. It sounds like it's vampires. It sounds like it's going to be sapphic. It just sounds like a good time. But I'm intrigued. It is a short read, and I've been wanting to pick it up for a while now. Then, for our actual sapphic book that we had to pick, I picked The Severed Thread by Leslie Vedder. This is the second book in the Bone Spindle saga? I'm not 100% sure, but the first book in the series is The Bone Spindle, and it acts as a retelling of, basically you're having a fantastical retelling / gender-bent retelling of Sleeping Beauty and Little Red Riding Hood. Now, there are two separate storylines and love stories going on. One is between Briar Rose and Fee, and that is not sapphic. And then the other one is between, what is her name? Shane and Little Red, which is sapphic. And based on where we left off in the first book, I'm excited to see how that storyline between Little Red and Shane grows, because we didn't end on the best terms in book one. But who knows? Who knows? And Little Red is on the front cover. Also, Briar Rose, I have so many questions about you, sir. Yeah. I don't know if I want to continue this series. I enjoyed the first book, but I'm not sure if I enjoyed it enough to want to read the full 3 books. But I'm going to give book 2 a shot, and if I don't love it as much as I want to, then we will officially DNF the full series. Then another YA fantasy, To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. This is obviously a very much so OG Book Talk, BookTube, standalone fantasy. I think it's a Little Mermaid retelling. I'm not 100% sure. It says on the back, I have a heart for every year I have been alive. There are 17 hidden in the sand of my bedroom. Every so often I claw through the shingle, just to check they're still there. Buried deep and bloody, I count each of them so I can be sure none were stolen in the night. It's not such an odd fear to have. Hearts are power, and if there's one thing my kind craves more than the ocean, it's power. Yes, ma'am. Sign me up. I've been in a mood for, like, Siren. Like, this is the thing, like, all of, like, the shows, like the really, like, how shall I say, feminine, fantastical, fashion-based shows of when I was a kid, like Winx Club, Totally Spies, what is H2O Just Add Water. You know, those, I feel like, if you like one, I feel like a lot of people have shared similar interests. I've been intrigued to, like, rewatch those. I've been in a very nostalgic mood this year, and I just feel like a Siren story is really gonna catch me. Then I had to pick the longest book on my TBR, and, like, I'm 99% sure it is Fairy Tale by Veronica Lancet. I don't know too much about this other than we're following a girl. I think it's set in the, this could have been my historical read. I think it's set in the 1950s, and we're following a woman who returns home, and she starts having dreams about a mysterious man while also interacting with another man in real life, and I've heard it's the reincarnation trope, and frankly put, it just sounds like something that's up my alley. So, yeah. But those are all the books I picked for the month of March. It will be my birthday month, so we will have a birthday reading vlog coming your way. But let me know what you're planning on reading the month of March. What do you think is going to be the best read that I've picked off of my March TBR? And I will see y'all in the next one.